It's not just about strutting on a stage. It's about giving back, having this voice, having this crown and this sash that allows you this greater voice for organizations that you're passionate about, building your presence in the community.
Welcome to Warriors at Work. This is Jeannie Coomber, your guide and host. Warriors at Work is a place where everyone in the workplace can come together, gain insight, encouragement, tell stories, connect, and share wisdom. We are a place of like-minded people at different stages of life, all coming together with a shared interest of enlightening and inspiring one another. If you're interested in going from the predictable to the potent, and you want to find your warrior magic, step into the journey with us. Welcome to Warriors at Work. Hi everyone, it's Jeannie. Thanks so much for being here at the Warriors at Work podcast. So balancing life as a CEO and a philanthropist is demanding. What if you were also Mrs. New Jersey? Kristina Henderson, CEO of Henderson Promos in Red Bank, is the powerhouse leader and community activist living this life. In our conversation, Kristina shares with me the story behind her drive, her determination, and her know-how as a leader. She also educates us about the powerful and community-oriented world of pageantries. Kristina embodies many of the warrior traits we talk about in the Warriors at Work community, and you will be struck by her creative problem-solving skills as CEO in 2020 and her deep, deep connection to community and servant leadership that is at the root of everything that she's about. You do not want to miss this conversation. Thank you so much for joining me today on the Warriors at Work podcast. I'm thrilled to have you here. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having me. It's
my
so great
pleasure.
to be here.
So you have such an interesting story and background. And when I was researching you for this conversation, I clearly saw someone with a lot of drive, a lot of determination, a lot of know-how. And you have figured out how to leverage your strengths in a way that's in service to all. And I was curious, how would you describe yourself?
I would describe myself as positive, passionate, motivated, driven, and someone who lives life to help push others to live their lives to their fullest potential, whether that's fellow business owners, entrepreneurs, or friends and family. I believe in lifting others up and helping them see their full potential. So, yeah.
And the lifting each other up, where does that come from? Is that something that you learned as a child? Did you play sports? Like, where did that come from?
I would say my mom really lifted me up and told me I could do anything I set my mind to. And, I fall back on that, because of course, when you take risks in business and in life, you reflect on yourself and can I do this? You ask yourself that. And you know what, my mom really instilled this confidence and drive in myself. So I think that's what it comes down to. And I really want other people to not be afraid to put themselves out there. And, people come to me sometimes for advice and different things. And I just want, and some people, they struggle with confidence, and life is in order to be successful, you have to be confident in yourself and who you are. And so when people come to me, I just tell them, believe in yourself. That's the most important thing. You don't need a whole team of people believing in you. Sometimes family might not believe in you. Your close friends might not believe in you. You need to believe in yourself. That's the most important thing. As long as you believe in yourself, you can do anything you set your mind to.
Yeah. And I'd love to unpack that a little bit, because you're not only the CEO of a multi-million-dollar business, you're also a very successful philanthropist, and of course, you're Mrs. New Jersey. So what was the moment where you figured out I can connect all of these pieces to help me to become the best version of myself? Because you really have this expansive, growth-oriented mindset. I can tell just by all the things that you're continuing to put out into the world. Like, what was that moment where you pulled in all of those pieces?
It just all comes down to purpose. What's your purpose in life? And my purpose is to help others, and all these different things I'm doing really help me do that. So it's all about your purpose and finding out what your purpose is. And for me, being Mrs. New Jersey, being a business owner, building my brand, having a multi-million-dollar business now really allows me to give back on a greater level, be a voice for organizations I'm passionate about. I work with the Tigger House Foundation, raising awareness for opioid addiction. Because of the pandemic, unfortunately, overdoses have increased 17% in our state. And it's really increased nationwide. And so it's really important during the pandemic to raise awareness for important causes like opioid addiction. I work with Fulfill, the food bank of Monmouth and Ocean counties, helping feed the hungry. And I work with the Applaud Our Kids Foundation, an organization that gives the arts to children whose families can't afford it, like singing, dancing, instrumental, acting lessons. It's so important that during the pandemic, children have an outlet. And so I work closely with these organizations, and they all kind of tie in together. Being Mrs. New Jersey gives me a greater voice for these organizations that people can, when I have a crown and sash on, people like to listen to me. So it's nice that I could be a bigger voice for these organizations that are so pivotal during this time. And, it all kind of ties in together. As a businesswoman, we work with over 80 nonprofits with my business. So, it's all about giving back on my business side and Mrs. New Jersey side, and just, being out in the community, trying to make the biggest difference I can.
Wow. So that sense of being in service is so part of your DNA.
It is.
I'm curious too, as if you reflect even on your career, were there key relationships, whether they're mentors or peers, people that were really pivotal to your growth and evolution? And then I'm also curious, like today, who are those key pivotal people?
Sure. So, on the business side, it's all kind of business and personal. People have had an impact on me, right? So, my husband is my biggest motivator. He really is one of the biggest reasons why I'm successful. He pushes me to take risks. He pushes me to, be outside of my comfort zone. In business, you have to take a lot of risks and do things that you wouldn't normally be comfortable with. So he really pushes me to that limit, and he believes in me, and he supports me in anything I do. And so my husband is definitely the number one person there. But in my life, my mom, like I spoke about before, has played a crucial role, and she gave me independence at a young age. And I think that's important. To be successful, you have to be independent, and you have to be able to stay on your own. And my mom really gave me that skill. And my late cousin Lisa is somebody else that stands out to me. She passed away from a rare cancer called thymus cancer. And Lisa was close in age to me, and she was more like a sister than a cousin. And she was somebody who had the biggest smile in the world and had, the kindest soul. And she loved helping other people, and to know her was to love her. She had this incredible personality. And so the fact that we lost her at such a young age, it inspires me to live life to the fullest. Each day is a gift. And I take who Lisa was, and I try and be the best person I can be every day, and be kind to other people, always, and just do my best to live each day to the fullest. And her just in honor of her memory too. And it's so important that some people just live for the weekend. Most people just live for the weekends, right? And so I think it's so important to live for the everyday. And as a businesswoman, my job is not 9 to 5. It goes, 5 to 10, and I work on the weekends. And it's just so important to take advantage of each moment to be the best that you can be.
Yeah. So there's two things that I'd love to explore a little bit. Like first, you had, as a business owner, had a gigantic pivot in 2020.
I did. Yeah.
Let's talk about that first.
Yeah.
Like, A, what happened for you? And then B, like, what did that pivot look like? And what were the results?
Yeah, so we did have a big pivot. So my business is Henderson Promos. So we are a branding company. We put logos on anything from t-shirts, hats, to signage and golf bags, surfboards, you name it. We offer over 700,000 branded items. So of course we do lots of events, right? And when the pandemic hit, all the events were canceled. So we had to really do something to pivot our business and survive. So what we did was our manufacturers overseas that were making our, fidget spinners and pop sockets, they were making PPE, masks, gloves, things like that. Right, aprons. And so what we did was in the beginning of the pandemic, we used our resources overseas to supply the major states and hospitals with the PPE that they needed. So I never thought I'd be in the PPE business, but here we are. And I was on the phone arranging cargo ships and private planes to get the shipments to the people who needed them most. And it was high risk. We were dealing with high numbers and shipping delays and concerns. So it was really, really intense. And so what we did was we decided that we need to make it here in the USA. So now there's Henderson PPE. We have a factory in Santa Ana, California, where we're making N95s and 3-ply masks and supplying the major states and hospitals with the masks that they need during this time. And so I'm so happy that we're able to, keep it here in the USA, not rely on our overseas manufacturers right now for those pivotal the items they're so crucial, right? Those crucial items. And so I think, during this time, I had to pivot my business and I went into the PPE side, and I'm so happy that I was able to keep my business alive, make it successful, and help a lot of people at the same time.
Wow. That's a great story. Wow.
Thank you.
Wow. So the other part that you talked a lot about is your philanthropy work, and you talked a lot about opioid use. So tell us why that is so important to you.
Sure. It's so important to me because I lost my brother-in-law to an opioid overdose. So I've seen the pain that a family faces when someone in the family struggles with addiction. And so I think it's so important to educate the youth on the dangers of addiction and change the stigma surrounding this disease and make it okay to talk about. A lot of people don't want to talk about it, and it's affecting so many people on a national, global level, right? Even so, it's so important that we have this discussion and we tell people who are struggling that it's okay to talk about, and we're here to help you. And we really educate people on how to get that help. And so I work with the Tigger House Foundation, an organization that helps those who struggle with addiction find help and get the resources they need to overcome their battles.
How do you strike a balance between these three elements to you? So being a CEO of a promotional business, especially now that you're in the PPE world, which I'm sure volume demand is very high. Then the philanthropy work, which is very much tied to like your soul, your heart, who you are in the world. And then also your work as Mrs. New Jersey. Like, how do you strike a balance? Like, what does an average day look like for you?
Lots and lots of coffee. That's for sure. Lots of coffee, espresso. No, I mean, of course, that's part of it. But it's about being organized, having a busy, organized schedule, making the most, like I said, of each moment that I have in my workday and at home, and using my time wisely. I don't sit in front of the TV watching Netflix. I'm working. And being a business owner and Mrs. New Jersey and working with nonprofits like I do, it requires a lot of time and effort and, seizing the day.
We talk a lot about in the Warrior Conversations that I'm hosting, not just with my clients, but in podcasts and Facebook Lives and stuff. We talk about, professional attributes alone are not enough. There is so much more to our experience here. And I'm curious, are there any anchors or practices that you have that are not like in the professional domain? Is there devotion time? Is there spirituality? How does some of these other elements help you in terms of how you're showing up in life?
Sure. So, every night before I go to bed and every morning I write in a journal, and I call it a gratitude journal. So at night I talk about things that I was grateful for during the day, what happened, positive things, negative things that happened for my growth. And I just jot it down. And then in the morning I say things that I'm hoping to get out of the day. And I think it's important that it keeps me organized. It keeps me focused to start my day. It's a positive way to start the day. You're ready to tackle things. I also put down ways that I can help other people too each day. So I think that's important that you keep focused on. At least for me, it helps. And Yeah. So that's part of it. And then, you know, I'm big into vision boards. So about 10 years ago, I was living in Hawaii and I created a vision board, and I took a cardboard and I put a poster board, and I cut out pictures from a magazine of things that I wanted. It was being engaged, it was building my brand, it was, having a dog. It was all different things, my dream car, like all different things on here, being healthy. There was a crown on there because I wanted to have a title. And it was just all these different things on there. And the cool thing is that when I went back to Hawaii, I saw the poster board that I had made, and I was blown away because almost everything on there came true. The engagement ring was like the same engagement ring, and it was really incredible. So I tell people that it's so important to put your goals in front of you, make a vision board. And with me, I believe they would come true. I didn't doubt them. It's all about the law of attraction. And when I put those things down, I looked at them, I already believed they would come true. There was no doubt in my mind that all those things were going to come true for me. And I tell other people that too, believe in these goals that you have, like they're already going to happen. Do not doubt them. And so I love the idea of vision boarding. I recommend it to anybody. I'm in the process of creating my next vision board because those things had come true. So I think it's important to look at your goals and focus on them each day as well.
I was talking to a business colleague who does it every year. And one of the things that she says as part of that is when you're doing the vision board, which I totally agree, you can feel whether or not it's a real item or not a real item. Do you know what I mean? Like when you write something down or you put a picture of it, you can feel whether or not it's truth. And once you lay out all those things that are truth, it's like, just get out of the way and let the universe take over. So palpable. I love that. So I want to switch gears a little bit because there's something that I read about you in an article, ROI-NewJersey.com. I saw you had a 2021 goal of helping women-based businesses. So talk to us about what that's about.
Sure. So I started in 2020 as Mrs. New Jersey, going to the 21 counties in New Jersey and meeting with women owners, and building this support system. Because when I did some research before I started that tour, it was difficult to find. I couldn't really find any grassroots kind of effort to connect women business owners. My business is WBE, so I do meet women owners on that level. But I wanted to really, connect women owners and build the support system and find out what they did during the pandemic to survive, for their businesses to survive and be successful. So I started my tour, and I'm going to be continuing it and having that support system.
Being in community and really recognizing that the more we get in service to each other, the greater the return for all of us. All of us. I love that. Exactly. So this is my first interview with a business leader who's also had a lot of success in the pageantry world. So first, why did you choose pageantry work, and how has it helped you?
Sure. So there's a common misconception with pageantry that it's all about what you look like, right? And that couldn't be further from the truth. Pageantry is all about giving back. And that's one of the reasons why I really love pageantry. You meet these women, right, who are all giving back in their communities. They're nurses, they're doctors, they're businesswomen, they're entrepreneurs. They're out there, building their brand and servicing other people. When you get this title, you're connected into this sisterhood of like-minded women who are all about making an impact on the community. For example, one of my really dear friends now is Mrs. Massachusetts, and she's building a church right now in Nigeria. And so that's just an example of what these women are doing. It's not just about strutting on a stage. It's about giving back, having this voice, having this crown and this sash that allows you this greater voice for organizations that you're passionate about, and building your presence in the community. And so that's why I really love pageantry. It's also about being confident in your own skin and showing people that you can do anything that you set your mind to. And this is the modern pageant. This is 2021 now, and this is the modern woman who is tackling different challenges that come her way confidently and helping other people.
Mm. I love that you highlighted that it's modern. It's not
Yeah.
the old school 1950s. Um,
No, no.
and I think the other thing that's really interesting, and you've said this numerous times, is being in service and being community oriented and giving back is such a foundational element of who you are, and that's such a big part of the pageantry world. So it makes sense that
Yeah,
you would have connected those two. Um,
for sure.
so let's talk about you personally, for your own growth and development. For Let's just talk about it through the lens of like your North Star. So what is Kristina working towards?
Yeah, so I'm working towards taking my personal brand from statewide to nationwide, right? My business is already nationwide. We work with companies all over, but I want to build my personal brand. Now as Mrs. New Jersey, a lot of people know me in New Jersey, but I want to be known nationwide in order to build my presence and give back on a greater level. Help more people, individuals, entrepreneurs. Be out there in the community more on that national level. So 2021 is about going from statewide to nationwide for my personal brand.
So a map of the US is going to be on that vision board.
Exactly.
I love it. So
That's it.
my last question for you is, we have a very diverse audience here of men and women who listen to this podcast, everybody from corporate executives to entrepreneurs, startups.
Mhm.
For everyone that's listening and watching right now, what do you want them to remember most about you?
I would like them to remember that my story is about perseverance. In retrospect, it's really about the American dream, right? It's cliche to say, but we started Henderson Promos with a screen printing machine in our kitchen, printing T-shirts, right? And gave them to friends, they liked them, and then our business just started to grow. And now we offer over 700,000 branded items. So it's really about believing yourself. If I say if I can do it, anyone can do it, and it's about not being afraid to take risks, following your dreams, not giving up, and being your biggest support system. You have to believe in yourself to make these dreams come true, and just don't give up. And you might fail in the beginning, but just keep at it. And you'll get there. Just don't lose sight of what you want. Be organized, have a vision, have a goal, and believe in it, and it'll come true.
Well, Kristina, it's been such a pleasure talking with you today.
Awesome.
I learned
Thank you
so much
much.
about your world and what you're up to, and I'm so grateful for all that you're doing to give back to the community and all that you're doing from a business perspective. And I see you nationally, so I know it's going to happen for you.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that. I'm so excited about the future. 2021 is going to be a great year. I know it. And it's all about staying hopeful and positive and looking for what's next. That's for sure.
Hope being a very key word for all of us. Thanks to everybody for listening to another episode of Warriors at Work and letting us be a part of your warrior journey. You can ask questions and make suggestions for future topics at jc@jeanniecoomber.com. Connect with me personally on LinkedIn and Instagram, and join us on the Warrior Conversations channel on YouTube and at the Warrior Magic Community page on Facebook. You can find links to all these places on my website, jeanniecoomber.com, and most importantly, be sure to tell friends about us, subscribe, rate, and review us on iTunes, Spreaker, and Spotify. It helps others find the show and puts more warrior magic out into the world.